Mississippi. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's our pleasure to welcome now Chuck Yarborough. All right, Chuck, I'm going to read your description of your title here. 2019 Organization of American Historians Teacher of the Year and Director, Tales from the Crypt, 8th of May Emancipation Celebration, and more story projects, the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science.
Is
that right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all
awesome.
correct.
That's fantastic. And then Shaw Prewitt, a Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science Junior from Shannon, Mississippi. Shaw?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good to have you on. Let me get your volume up a little bit so we can hear you. All right, so Chuck, tell us about this Tales from the Crypt. I just got a little bit of an overview of that from Sharon Johnson, the business director here. Tell us about that.
Well, Tales from the Crypt is a research and performance project that my students at the Mississippi School for Math and Science conduct every year. It's a research project in the fall semester that turns into a public performance in historic Friendship Cemetery. We literally bring history to life.
So how's that connected to the School of Math and Science?
Well, School for Math and Science is a school for gifted kids all across the state.
Okay.
And we teach a high school curriculum to 11th and 12th graders. 35 years ago, my late colleague Carl Butler realized that a primary document research project could turn into public collaboration and communication and just community skills, building skills. So students learn research and writing, and then they also learn those soft skills that everybody needs to have in communities across our state. And
Absolutely. All right, Shaw, you're a junior, right?
Yes, sir.
And what caused you or what inspired you to enroll and attend the MSMS?
Well, I just saw it, like a higher level of education, to challenge myself, from what I was getting in public school. Well, I'm still in public school, but, at my old school, it was a block schedule. I only had 3 classes. I didn't really have to do any homework. I could just – I wasn't challenged at all, I wasn't forced to learn how to study, to learn how to work hard academically. I always say, my hardest class was football, because that was, because it was the most mentally challenging just because all the, the workouts, the practices, it was, so that was the one class, I love football, but, that was my hardest class. But now that I'm here, I have 6, 7 classes that I have to, study for, just one class here more than like all my classes combined at my old school.
So you like the challenge?
I do like the challenge. It's been very beneficial for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about as a career? Have you given that any thought yet?
So right now I want to I'm going to apply to West Point, the Naval Academy.
Oh, cool.
The Air Force Academy. I'm going to both summer seminars of the U.S. Naval Academy and the U.S. Military Academy this summer. So I'm thinking I want to try to be a Special Forces officer in the U.S. Army, but that, and then maybe get my MD while I'm in the Army too. I'm interested in endocrinology and hormones, and things like that. And I'm also interested in like making my own toothpaste too, which is which we might not want to go on right now. It might take a while for me to explain it, but I'm interested in a lot of things, but that's probably my primary area of interest right now. And then I may be interested in running for political office one day in the state of Mississippi.
I can see that. So, are you involved in any of these productions?
I am.
Okay, which one? Multiple, maybe, huh?
So I'm involved in Tales of the Crypt. I'm a performer. So I wrote my own script. I researched a black banker named J.M. Coleman, who was active in Columbus. He was the cashier at the Penny Savings Bank. He was sort of like, he was like an early civil rights activist. Well, I mean, yeah.
So I'm told that you could actually speak in your character for us today. Is that right?
I can speak in my character.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little background information on my character first.
Okay.
So, I can't play J.M. Coleman for obvious reasons. So I had to create a character that would interact with a black banker like J.M. Coleman, who was white.
Okay.
So what I thought of is a white sharecropper named Bubba, who who's having a problem because he can't get credit and loans from the white banks so he can separate from the guy he works for, who I call the boss man in the script.
Okay.
So he's excited because this new bank has opened that Reverend J.M. Coleman works at. He's also a reverend too. And you know, I try to add a little twist on it. So since my guy really doesn't want to be a sharecropper anymore, he also is a catfish fisherman.
Okay.
And, you know, and that ties in well with Catfish Alley in Columbus. And I can kind of, and also it gave me an ability to add some props in there, you know, to be creative. And originally I was going to have a catfish as a prop, but, you know, I'm like, there's not too many great catfish props on Amazon. You know, I wanted to, like, maybe have, like, a live one and, like, freeze it, but that might be too disgusting for the audience. And I might scare some people away with the smell.
Well, let's hear the voice. I'm waiting.
Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to, I guess I'll just introduce myself.
Okay.
Well, hello, folks. My name is Bubba, and I'm on SuperTalk, Mississippi today. I'm very excited to, you know, be able to present myself to you, and, you know, my character's only, you know, able to come alive in certain moments, you know, so I'm going to give him a little more life here. So my character in the script, I'll spoil a little bit for you. So he's kind of ambushed by a snake. He thinks it's in the grass, but, you know, he can't. He's kind of hearing for it, but he doesn't really know where it is. So he asked a member of the audience to come help him find it, and he thinks it's under this bucket. You know, and then he also, so he gets a member of the audience to grab the snake for him real fast, okay? And then he starts talking about how he's going to eat the snake, since he doesn't have a lot of the means to buy a lot of food.
I've seen a picture of you holding this snake.
Yeah. It's on that thing called the internet. I've never heard of anything of such. Okay. You know, that must be way in the future for me.
So,
but
Chuck, are you teaching these students?
Well, I'm not teaching them that necessarily.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a history teacher, and the students are doing primary document and secondary document research to try and understand characters in a time period, and then to bring it to life creatively. So in the case of Shaw's performance, his research subject was able to explore not only kind of the economic system of the early 20th century, the first decade of the 20th century is what he's looking at, but also the struggles of sharecroppers and the universality of a lot of those struggles for Mississippians.
Right.
I mean, it's brought a tale to life.
I mean, that intersects with Mississippi right there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, many of we have a long legacy of Mississippi of hard-working people contributing to their communities, and ultimately that's the story. If I were to pick a theme that comes out of almost all of the performances, that's part of it. And then I think we have students that recognize that their good hard work presented to the community in performance during our Tales from the Crypt performances in the pilgrimage season, that they're contributing to this community. And I think that builds those not only soft presentation skills, but it builds what I like to call a community ethic of leadership, which I know will develop over their lifetimes.
Well, it would occur to me that it's much more effective to teach and then learn about this important history through this approach than it would be just reading it out of a book.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I teach history. This is doing history. It's not reading and memorizing and regurgitating facts in a multiple choice true false format or something like that. They do primary document research and they write and secondary research and write a research paper. So that's really college level work. In the fall semester, they have the ability to then turn that creatively into exploration of whatever they think is significant. This year there were 44 kids who did the project, 42 auditions. 2 of them are pairs, which both ended up being selected. All 42 auditions compete in competition with one another. The best 10 were selected, and that's what Guests of the Cemetery will see performed on our final performance night, which is tomorrow night, April 11th.
Chuck, is one of the goals here just to provide a more rounded education?
Yeah, I think, well, a more complete education, I think, is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I'm looking to develop critical thinkers that are not, that are able to explore and critically analyze documents of every sort.
Yeah.
Now, we're looking, of course, at 19th and early 20th century stuff most of the time, but the idea is to have them engage something, be a critical thinker, figure out a way to put it in a context using other sources, and then to relate that to other people. You know, once you can share it with others, then you actually have internalized what you've understood.
Chuck Yarborough and Shaw Prewitt with the Mississippi School of Mathematics for Mathematics and Science have been our guests here on Middays. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you,
Love the
sir.
character. I look forward to seeing you on the ballot one day, Shaw.
Maybe.
All right. Thanks for having us, Gerard.
Appreciate
we
it,
really
guys.
appreciate you.
We're stepping aside for a break right now. Once again, we relocated the Element Well studio to the Columbus Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're coming right back.